something a little different now. A resin stockade, which was sort of kind of be a small hill fort or a dark age fort. I used it in the background when I did the figure of Ossa, of the knife. It wasn't quite finished at that point, so I didn't go anywhere near it really. It's kind of finished-ish now. There's plenty of room for more development, I know, but it's going to be part of something else, so I kind of draw it to a close, and it deserves a little bit of attention in its own right. So there we are with Ossa and his two enemies, perhaps, and you get an idea of sort of a dark age fort in the background. This is a nice little model. It is made out of resin. It does have casting issues, but that's fine, and it's the kind of thing that will work well for dioramas, model making, wargaming, all of that. It's sort of its maximum size is for 28mm figures, but obviously it would do really well for 1/72, that kind of thing, in which case it would be gigantic, and that would be lots of fun. So it's straightforward stuff. It comes unpainted. I've painted it, so it comes in a really kind of anemic pale grey, which we'll see a bit of in the moment. There I am experimenting with different ways of laying it out, because it comes in sections. It's modular. You get 3 straight bits of wall and 4 curves, although for some reason it looks like there's 4 straight bits of wall there. There can't be, because I haven't got them. Anyway, there we are with 3. So 3 straight bits, 4 curves, and a gateway. Don't want to call it a gatehouse. And I am going to build it into part of a bigger wooden fort, a medieval fort, kind of typical of Eastern Europe and Russia, which Zvezda did, and I bought 2 of those and a few extra bits for it, and then I'm going to fill it up with all kinds of stuff. And what I wanted was a more simplistic fort building, probably isn't the right word, Barbican might be, but that's probably a bit too technical for this kind of fort. But also I quite like the idea of being able to just sort of take it apart and use it for something else, should I wish. And you're right, you can see in the background a large fluffy sheep with a fez. Don't ask what goes on in this back room, really don't. Anyway, there you can see it with a bit more of the fort. We'll have a quick look at that on and off. It's a good fort. I do like it. I think it's going to be a 20-year project, that one. I will show bits of it. I should do that in the future. There's the box. For some reason I put a German jet fighter on the box, but anyway, there we are. Goes to show how far back this one kicked off. But it's good. This itself is a good model, and very adaptable, as is the resin thing. Although this one's 1/72, so like I say, it could be, the resin fort could be sort of gigantic. Here's the key pieces: some curves, a straight, and one section of the gatehouse. But you can see, if you get close, see that just underneath on the left, here and there the casting hasn't been brilliant. There's also a series of bobbles on the wooden posts, but I quite like them. They're a very interesting texture, so I'm not going to clean them up. So the real issue here is, I will zoom in. There we go. You can see that there's a jump between the 2 pieces, and it's in that case it's probably 2.5mm. In that case it's a little bit more. You can see that's nearly 4, I should think. And then at the end of that one, you can see it really is quite a steep dip. I'm not worried that other things are wonky. and so on. It's just that is quite there's no way of it making up a story to give it credibility. So what I'm going to do is roll up some milliput and put it at the bottom of these lower ends and lift it up, and then of course I'll have to engrave some rockery, maybe some long grass, that's easier. It's also one of those things, maybe I should do a little film kind of defining and exploring hill forts, because I think most people in Britain and France probably have a good idea. Hill forts were pretty common in Britain, France, Gaul and the Germanic lands, but obviously in other parts of the world not so well known. It's worth putting them in perspective for how they relate to the post-Roman refortification thing as well, because it makes things like modelling quite fun, and it takes us to things like Camelot, which could possibly have been a refortified hill fort in Somerset. So it's worth a quick look, isn't it? I think. Yeah, there we go. So that's our baseline. That one's fine. And then you can see where I've just filled that corner and then filled a few gaps along there. A little bit of shrinkage has just brought that up. And then the same on that one. And there was a gap so big I basically reproduced a stone. In the others I've just put grooves in. That's not all, but that's enough to show it, isn't it? Which means just got to paint it up and we're virtually there. So I'm quite pleased with that. I like the model, I like the rough casting, because that's what life's like, and it's taken the paint well, actually. I'm surprised. Well, there it is, done. As done as I'm going to do it, really. So we've ended up with, let me just get a pointer, additional bits along the base to straighten it up. That's the only work that's really been done. Not so keen on the colour I've done that bit, so sort that out. But apart from that, this is it. So you could glue it all together. This isn't glued together, it's freestanding. Oops. And you could very easily fit a wall walk into the interior. So it's straightforward stuff. What I want to do is attach it to a larger fort, which I'll show later, and use this as a kind of outwork or barbican. So there we are. Just to give an idea of scale, over here I've just got a Celtic chariot. So let's just, it won't hold together without work, so let's just get an idea. So it's a good sized gateway, that will do, and the actual perimeter is small because obviously this is for like war gaming and that kind of thing. Usually Celtic hill forts are a lot bigger, and even when they are reused after the Romans go, they don't tend to be this small. But I think you can get the individual sections anyway, so you could, if you wanted to invest, make a massive one. So it's not only is it just, you know, this model, but it could be incredibly flexible and adaptable, and I like that kind of thing. Nice concept, nice bit of design, so well done. I need to try and work out who the company is, because it's all very, I was going to say cloak and dagger, but it's all very discreet. I got it off eBay, and I thought it was by a company and some chap was selling it in his own right, but I think he is the company. So I need to go back and see what's what there. So that's basically it. Very good, like it. What I'll do next is show what we've got of the larger fort, because that isn't anywhere near finished. It's going to be a giant project. So I'll have a look at that. I keep promising this fort, so here it is, as it exists at the moment, which is lots of little bits but glued together, but not a whole complete model, so that I can push it around and shape it up a bit as time goes by. There's a lot more to go. I want to fill that outer ward, the bit on the right, with an awful lot of buildings, and there's a kind of log cabin-esque keep in the top left that will be you know, filled in and made more solid and that kind of thing. So this is just a vague idea of the basic layout, and there you can see our little fort as a stretched out pale grey barbican, as I keep saying. I'm repeating myself. Let's move on. It's worth coming outside just to see it in the sun. And there we are with two guardians of the gateway and a bloke on top. There's a very interesting fragment of a poem, very early, might be the earliest sort of parchment and ink thing that survives, about the gatekeeper at King Arthur's fort, which isn't necessarily Camelot, interestingly, and he asks folks who come to the door what their name is, what their lineage is, and sort of what their skills are. These days we might say superpowers. And it's only a fragment, but you get the impression that it was very long. Oops, I'm mucking this around. You get the impression that it was very long, very complex, and probably quite fun. And you don't get in to these places until you've proved your worth. And really you should have your own song or poem that is your biography, autobiography in fact. And this, as I say, is an extremely early fragment. I have to see if I can dig it out sometime. Anyway, here we are with our mini hill fort, perhaps a dark age renovation of a hill fort, where you use the old ramparts and then you just fortify the central section, or the sort of one end, or the high point, or whatever it may be. This is the kind of thing that they would have done. And this time around I've just put all the straight bits together so that you get a sense of a long rampart, and then I've put the curved bits at the ends just to give us a bit better sense of proportion of what these places might have been like. So here we are with a bit more of a sense of a hill fort rather than just a small fort. And of course, if you're a war gamer, that might be all you need. Just slicing the end off the board, something like that. Ooh, there's the gate. That's the kind of thing you'd be met with if you turned up to a nice old Iron Age hill fort. It's not simple, it's not primitive, it's just not over-engineered. Some of them could get over-engineered and be very complicated. I think we are heading for a little program on hill forts, aren't we? There we go, I like it, it's really good. Lots of options here. The cat as well. Let's get away from those horrible power lines, which I'm sure you didn't notice, and instead get a bit of a sunset on a not so good surface. But really, there we are with it done, and I think this is good, particularly for, you know, just a simple casting. This is a great job, really serves the purpose. What a rickety version of this. The surface is terribly wobbly. I may have to move it on elsewhere. But this will do for the time being, won't it? Anyway, there we are. And there's a totem pole. So yeah, it's good. It's adaptable, very flexible, because it's modular, and that's great. So you know, you can do what you want with it, and you can fit you can probably see through the gate, there's a ridge there where you can fit a wall walk if you wish. So that's our little hill fort for now. Thank you for watching. We'll come back to the Eastern European wooden fort another time. So anyway, thank you for watching, and do come again.